What you will learn when you watch Kev Mac videos is this one particular name often comes up when you talk about the West Side Crips, the Inglewood Crips, and the Venice Crips.
Phillip was on one. Phillip was getting his Crip on. You know what I mean?
His name, Phillip McCain.
For the dime moves and the lokes, for the 6-4s on spokes, for the OGs that did a dime, came back around on parole, for the homegirls with the scrap game, little homies that gang bang, from Pelican Bay to YA, rearrange your mind frame. Yeah, I know what you've been through, shit you had to go tend to. Your mama gave birth on the turf.
I was the founder. I created Conan Pocket in my mother's garage.
I had a lot of, lifting weights, and I was on swole. They started calling me Big Miz.
Original stutter box, East Side Fire, who's Pebble on Bishop, Mill City Gangster Bloods.
Kev Mac video, you know, this is for sure. Kev Mac video, open your soul.
This is only the beginning.
Phillip Louis McCain was born in the county of Los Angeles, January 17, 1954. He was raised in the city of Inglewood. When some kids grow up, they dream of being a fireman or a policeman. But Phillip McCain, when he was young, he wanted to be a gangster. Did you know Phillip McCain?
Absolutely.
Was he ever Inglewood Crip?
No.
Okay.
So a lot of people have different ways in. Initially, Phillip used to hang with Tookie and those cats. He had some run-ins with a few of them, left, and then he came back. But that's how he came into the Crips, with Tookie and his crew.
Okay.
But he lived in Inglewood, but he wasn't an Inglewood Crip.
I met Phillip McCain when I was 5. He was a partner of one of my older brothers.
Phillip resided at 8907 South 7th Ave in Inglewood, California. By age 16, the East Side Crips had spread to Inglewood and the West Side, and Phillip became involved with the West Side Crips. He began getting into trouble and was sent to stay with relatives in Venice.
I remember when Phillip could walk,
But a whole lot of people didn't like it that.
Why not?
Phillip was on one. Phillip was getting his Crip on. You know what I mean? Phillip was about all kind of, doing his thing, doing what he do. I ain't gonna state all the things he was doing, but he and we was real tight.
Phillip's religion was the streets. In an old interview, Phillip admitting to using Red Devils, selling Red Devils, and committing burglaries. But to law enforcement in Inglewood, he was the wildest gang member in all of Inglewood.
Phillip got shot by the police across the street from Crenshaw High. He was with one of the 8 trays. He was playing with a gun in the backyard, and he took the gun from the dude and turned around. The police was there, gunned him down. He survived.
In 1974, McCain and a friend was at a party in South Central Los Angeles. They were allegedly drunk, and a friend had fired shots from a gun that he was carrying. When the police came, McCain took the gun and allegedly tried to shoot a policeman. He was then gunned down and paralyzed.
I know Phillip McCain is one of your boys, and he lived in that area. How did he survive?
According to court documents, Phillip McCain was one of the co-defendants in the Douglas Green murder in 1972. At the time of this conflict between the Crips, the Chain Gang, and Inglewood family, Phillip McCain was living in the heart of Inglewood family turf.
Phillip McCain had lived on 7th Avenue, but during the beginning of the conflict, he was targeted, basically.
Phillip McCain got paralyzed. Phillip McCain was in a wheelchair?
Yeah.
You ever heard why Phillip McCain was in a wheelchair?
I've heard bits and pieces.
Well, I was there.
Did the police do it?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
We had a party one night, about 82nd, 81st in Hobart, probably 1972, but about 15, because he's a couple of years older than me. And we had a party where, once again, it's all the Crips. We all there. And since this my area, I'm the host. Got the Hundreds, Monk, Barefoot, Pookie, Melvin Hardy, O'Neal Brown, Cute, Rusty, Mouse, Lil Tug, a gang of us. So anyway, they don't want to let us in the party. So gunfire erupts, and I had a 22 chrome plated. And right when the shooting was happening, the police were down at the end of the street and seen the reflection off the light of me having a pistol. We with two girls, Barbara B, Barbara A. They had a station bus daddy wagon. They had a Criplet car. They out the Hundreds, they were Criplets. We had rode with them, me and Philip. So I throw the gun, tell Philip, let's break. Philip go back and say, man, we ain't gonna leave the gun. I say, Philip, leave the gun. He split, I split. But when he picked the gun up, the police went after him. I went with the girls. They took me right up the street, and I come back to look for Philip, and I heard gunshots. And so Philip had got shot in the back on the spine. And nobody ever heard that story because we never said one word about it after that. Until when he died at the funeral, and his mother asked me what happened, because then, to tell you another how treacherous it was back then, that meant I had to go on foot to tell his mother that he'd been shot. He stayed on 7th Avenue, right up the street from Slim 400, wherever I know that area, was a immaculate area. That's a nice area, Inglewood. And I had to get up there, but the only problem was back in them days, when you see a car, you got to go to the bushes. Can't let them see you. So it almost took me 3 hours of dodging in, fighting to get to his house, because there wasn't that many Crips in Inglewood. Wasn't a lot of them.
Two things I want to ask about Philip. One, did you consider him part of the Inglewood Crip faction? And two, what's his connection to Venice? Because his name pops up in Venice a lot.
Philip had went to Venice and started the Venice Shoreline Crips. He was one of the main dudes that started the Venice Shoreline Crips.
When we went to Venice, I met Batman in Venice. Before that's like 1971. Philip had a lot of family. You also had the baseball player, what's his name? He played for the New York Yankees. But anyway, Philip got a long history, and his brother Philip and Perry McCain. They got a long, deep history with the roots of the Venice Shorelines, even before, I think the street we were on was called Broadway.
Phillip McCain just came down here. He just came down here and
He came to the ham.
Came to the ham. He just came down here. We gave him a pass.
So Philip came here after you guys were already Crip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had Ducci, Hatchet, my boy that got killed during a jewelry store robbery. But I met Batman, which is his cousin, also from East Coast, East Side. That's where I met Batman at in about 1970.
You talking about the Batman that used to work at the steakhouse?
With Fast Eddie, huh? Yeah. And Fox and all them from Compton and all them. Yeah.
What was Batman doing in Venice? That was one of his...
What were we doing in Venice? We off the west side, but we hitting corners. We coming out there. We going out there getting in the shit. Because Philip taught me how to burglarize. Because they were older than me. At 13, and I don't like doing burglaries. Philip taught me, he said, man, they all up. That's how come we always kept a pistol back then, too. Because back in them days, your parents have to warm up their car. Wasn't no electric starting. They had to pump that gas, turn that car on, and let that clucker run. So he said, Melvin, usually they gonna leave that door open. All we gotta do is just walk in the door, hide behind the couch, and wait till they leave.
Oh, wow.
And that's how we end up getting and doing. That's what Phillip.
So back then, the way you got your arsenal was basically through what they call today flocking.
Nah, we creeping. Yeah. Now, home invasions, that stuff like when we, if you hear about in Tookie's book where they said somebody robbed a gun store, that's us.
Did Philip's family file a lawsuit against the police back then, or that wasn't even a thing back then to do?
Phillip went to jail. I've seen him on the gurney handcuffed because somebody had been shot and injured at, do you remember I told you shots were fired? So Phillip got caught with a gun, and when I seen him bring him out on the stretcher, he was handcuffed.
So would you give Phillip the credit for planting Crip in Venice, or you think it was probably a combination of...
They already had Crips in Venice, but at the time, we were West Side Crips. So Venice was just part of being a West Side Crip. So we out there, this 71, 72. There is no Venice Shorelines at this time. They're just part of, when I first went out to Venice, we going out to Venice.
Like my homeboy Bird said, a lot of people didn't like him, but the fact of the matter,
one of them.
right? But he was down. You know what I'm saying? And I used to go in LA with him all the time. You know what I'm saying? So, and I was seeing what they was doing there, and I mostly come back and brought it here. And like I said, the origin there was the underground corps at that particular time on the west side. You know, when Tookie and Raymond Washington, when they would have the meeting at Washington High School.
Nah, Cinderella Park.
Cinderella Park, but they had the meeting at Washington High School, like I said. But Buster and me and my homeboy Buster and him, we all used to go up to Washington High School when they had the meetings on Saturdays and things like that. School was closed. So we jumped the fence and go inside the school, inside the building, and this, that, and the other. The east side and west side Crips was there. You know what I'm saying? And we was there.
Venice was at the original
Venice was at the original Crip meeting and things of that nature. And my homeboy Buster took a spray paint can and you know, and Bonnaroo Venice Crips on the wall back in those days. I had a picture a long time ago.
That's the Shoreline. We didn't have our names in when he sprayed.
Yeah. But it was Venice Crips though. Wasn't Shoreline.
Yeah. Was Cody Brown the United Underground also?
Cody Brown was a West Side Crip. Curtis, cut little brother named Kerry, me, him, Phillip McCain. Me and Phillip McCain used to work for his daddy. He said, Melvin, Phillip, I want to put y'all to work. Get y'all out these streets. So he take us downtown to a hotel. Damn, I sure hate Mr. Brown. I miss old man. And Mr. Brown trusted us, and I feel bad too. See, these are the type of things as you get older and slow down and you get wiser where it's funny then, but it's remorseful now because you'll see the man was really trying to provide us a new way. Just like Anthony had your daddy, Mr. Edmo. So anyway, he trusted us and he gave us, we painting, trimmers, me and Phillip, this part. We're supposed to trim all the hotels. We got the master key to 100 and some rooms. And we took every piece of jewelry out of every last one of them rooms. And I'm quite sure now in hindsight, Mr. Brown probably lost that contract.
In his 30s, Phillip became known for giving out prayers and holding prayers with individuals in the streets. He was now praying in the streets that he once prayed on. Phillip died in the hospital February 26, 2015.
This is Los Angeles.